Good evening and welcome to County Law's Crime Prevention Tip of the Week. Tonight we're going to talk about young children and what parents can do to help protect their child. When you go out with your child, make sure that you keep your child in sight. Don't allow your child to wander off or go do things on their own expecting they're going to come back to you. Also, don't leave your child unattended in shopping carts. Shopping carts can roll off or somebody can come push your child away. If you do notice that your child is missing, make sure that you notify your store staff immediately. Most stores can shut their doors and lock everybody in to keep your child from leaving if they do wander off, and then they conduct a thorough search of the store to help locate your child. It's also important that your child knows your name. That way, if they do encounter a store employee, they can let the employee know who they need to be looking for. Another thing that parents tend to do is they tend to point out law enforcement as a negative to their child. Make sure that your child knows that law enforcement or people in uniform are somebody that they can go to for help if they need it. It's also important that your child knows what a stranger is and how to interact with strangers. Make sure that they know not to talk to strangers, not to take things from strangers, and it's not okay to go off with a stranger, even if they tell them that you sent them. Children can learn how to use a password. That's a word that you and your child know, so that if you do send somebody after your child in an emergency, they know that person is okay to pick them up and take them someplace. As your child gets older, make sure that they know important information about you. Make sure they know your name, where you work, phone numbers they can contact you at, and their address. If they do become lost or need assistance, they'll know how to tell somebody how to get a hold of you. When they're old enough to be left at home, make sure that they understand that they should never tell anybody that they're home alone. If they have to answer the phone and they're not certain about who's calling, make sure that they understand to tell them that you are there and unavailable and that they will have you call them right back. If somebody comes to the door, make sure they don't answer the door unless they know who's there. It's important to come up with ways to identify somebody that you send. They can either knock a certain way, or you can call and let them know that they're on the way with important stuff. Lastly, it's important that you keep information on your child readily available. One of the best ways to do this is to contact your local law enforcement agency and see if they can provide what's known as a child identification kit. These kits allow you to take fingerprints and DNA samples of your child and also record important information like height and weight, so that if it's needed, you can readily provide it to law enforcement. It's also important that you keep current photographs of your child, especially if your child's hairstyle or significant changes in your child occur. That way, if they are missing, that information can be sent out in an Amber Alert and the information's current. If you have any questions about this or any other crime prevention tip, you can contact me at robertursick@mc-ala.org.